What's going on, guys? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner review, and today we're going to be going over the Nier banner and the 3 units, the support unit 9S, the physical damage dealer 2 booty, a 2B, and the awesome new global exclusive physical damage dealer A2. So let's get into it. So the first unit we're going to be looking at off of this banner is 9S. Now that is the 4-star base going up to 6-star support breaking unit that we have here, and he is amazing. Let's go and look at his Trust Mastery. It is pod 153. It's the little pod that follows him around. Let's look at this. It does give you defense +8 and spirit +8. So, you know, all you guys out there wanting to stay tanky, this is going to help you out a lot. Not really, but it does bring a lot of other potential power to it and makes it one of the best TMs in the game. Let's look at this, guys. A120 repair. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to give you the ability to do an AoE heal over, I do believe it is 3 turns to all allies. So when you cast this, it's a heal 3,000 HP with a 9x multiplier to all your allies. So whoever you put this on is going to be able to be a healer in a way, a support healer, which is amazing. And then we have A170 scanner, and this is just like, you know, your locks or your Zon or your, you know, your smugglers, your treasure hunters, or your thieves, you know, way of increasing how many items drop. And the problem with this is that we've never had an explanation on this. When I tried to ask it through E3, you know, I wasn't even allowed to be honest. They wouldn't let me. And then on top of that, because it really was a developer question other than a producer question. And then they kind of have only talked about this and saying that it's like a lucky rabbit's foot you take with you. So not the biggest, but it could help you when you're trying to farm up those awakening materials. Moving on, we have A060 P shield. And guys, this is an amazing ability. 40% damage, physical damage mitigation. Now remember, it's physical damage mitigation for 2 turns to all allies. And the reason it's big that I point out that it's physical, not just to let you know that it does not damage mitigate magic, but the fact that it, since it points out that it's physical, it is stackable with other types of damage mitigation, such as, we'll talk about here in a minute, 9S's ability that lets him do 30% damage mitigation, or coming from Riku, her damage mitigation as well. So just be aware of that. Now, let's say a tank says, you know, I'm going to cover all, like Light is with us, and it has a physical and magical mitigation on that. This will not stack with that. The higher one will take precedent, in my opinion. So moving on, we do have the other great ability, R020 Mirage, and what this does, guys, is it allows you to have a budget or a, you know, free-to-play style chainer. It's going to allow you to have a physical damage ability that has a 3x multiplier AoE, and it hits 8 times. And it's pretty easy to chain with. So what you guys do if you're having trouble chaining, and you need to throw this on one of your units, you can do that, and then you have another unit that has a pod 153. You guys can chain up and perfect chain and make it pretty nice. You know, 2 8x hits, you know, with dual wield, that's going to be pretty good. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and go over, you know, 9S's Limit Burst and Hack. And what Hack does is it takes the opponent, it's a single target, defense, magic, spirit, and attack break. And at the 6-star lowest possibility, you know, it's 30%. It's not the best. It does do a lot of physical damage. It has a high multiplier, but with 9S, you're not really building him to do physical damage, in my opinion. It's going to be a low 30%, you know, all across the board full break for 3 turns. And it also has a 100% chance to inflict disease. And guys, the disease, as you can see, that's on this guy right here, we'll hold over him. Disease is an affliction that takes down the stats of a opponent monster unit by 10%. And so that's going to add on to the 30%, and that's going to be 40% right there out of the gate. If you max this Limit Burst up, and I'm telling you, if you are going to use 9S, you should, you get that all the way up to a physical damage modifier of 8.65 times single target. And then the biggest thing here, guys, it's a 54% break for 3 turns instead of that measly 30. And on top of the fact that if the monster boss, trial boss, whatever it is, can be inflicted with disease, that's going to be 64%, guys. It's major. It's huge. It's very, very good. Now, let's go ahead and discuss what else 9S can do here. What can he do for us? 9S has a Purge Attack Defense and a Purge Magic Spirit. And what this does, guys, it's a 50% break to either attack and defense single target for 3 turns, or magic and spirit 50% break for 3 turns single target. This is a huge break, guys. This guy is a breaker. As you can see, his other abilities are elemental purge, and he can do that with ice, water, earth, or fire, lightning, and wind. And the percentages on that, guys, is another 50%. So this is a way you can break down the opponent on top of imperiling with all of these different imperils you may need, which is very important, especially when working with A2 or 2B, as A2 has no way of imperiling at all, and A2 does, but it's a lot of setup to get there, so he can help you guys out with that. He has a couple of other abilities we're not going to talk about too much here. He has self-destruct, but again, we're not using him as a finisher or a damage dealer. He does have spread shield. Spread shield reduce damage taken to all allies for 3 turns, and that's at 30%, and that's really powerful. You can see here, we can go ahead and just use this, show you guys what it looks like. It's pretty sweet. Put your shield on everybody, boom, bada bing. It's going to help you guys take less damage, and if you do have his little robot there as the TM, that's going to stack up with that 40% damage, physical damage medication, which is going to be amazing. So, overall, what do I rate this beast right here, this amazing unit, this amazing support unit? I am going to give him a solid 8.5 out of 10. He's very, very useful. He takes the spot of, your breaker entirely. He can also imperil to help out some of your units, and he has that damage mitigation you may be looking for. Solid break. I mean, we were only using Elza and Delita to do the breaks before. This guy is almost up there, and with his limit burst, he is. A lot of team comps are built around raising the limit burst anyway because of Riku, so definitely a solid unit. I would definitely be happy if I picked him up. As talking about his TM right now, though, you probably want at least 2, so you can start chaining with them. That's up to you guys, though. You can do more than that, but my recommended amount is 2. So the next unit on this banner review is 2 Booty. The girl of our dreams, the mecha warrior we've all been waiting on. She's a physical damage dealer going from 5-star base to 6-star and has an amazing trust mastery in Virtuous Contract. That is a katana that has a 130 attack, highest attack katana in the game, plus MP plus 20%, which is an amazing addition to that. Guys, farm this as much as possible. If you get a bunch of 2 booties, get it. Get in that raid. Get the TM we just talked about from 9S. Get this Virtuous Contract. And even get the Beast Sword we'll talk about with A2. Guys, farm as many of these as you can as quickly as possible from the raid. I know the Moogles, TM Moogles don't drop as much as usual, but guys, you definitely want to pick up these TMs. They're incredible. So, very, very great TM. And then we're going to move on to talk about her Limit Burst now. Her Limit Burst is an amazing ability. It's called H0229 Type B. It is an AoE 4.25 times physical damage with 50% ignore defense move. She hops up in a mech, and she fires 10 times with that mech, that bad boy, and she does a ton of damage. Now, this is one of the Limit Bursts I wouldn't say to level up. It only adds 1 times multiplier to the physical damage, so instead of being a normalized out 8.5 times physical damage multiplier, it would be a 10 times physical damage multiplier, and that is still a damage increase, but it doesn't really increase the hits. It doesn't increase the ignore defense. It's just that 1 times multiplier increase, and just in the end, just isn't really worth it for me. There are a lot of limit bursts out there we may want to do. If we go ahead and look at the different, passives that our girl 2B has here. She has 3 that I think are worth mentioning. Guys, I'm not going to mention every passive or every ability anymore in my banner reviews. You can get in there, do your own research. I'm going to mention the ones that I think are interesting, the ones that I think you guys should know about the units, and the really important ones, okay? So the first passive ability I think is really important on 2B is Retry. 80% chance to avoid KO when HP is above 10%. So essentially, it's the ability where she can stay alive just like Fravia has. She has an 80% chance of doing that when she receives fatal damage. I've learned that this ability is literally one of the best abilities in the game. Obviously, we should have known that, or should have given it more credit to begin with, but as I'm moving on, fighting harder bosses, harder trials, you cannot give this ability enough credit. It is just masterfully made. You definitely want this on your units, and every unit that has it, it just gets another, notch up on the bedpost with that ability being on. She also has Code E, which is a 100% machine killer, so that can stack up with machine killer you get in in your materia there that you can throw on her and things like that. She can get up to 150% right out the box if you wanted to, so she's really good against machines. And not only that, she also gets dual wield, which allows her to wield 2 weapons. Pretty sweet there, so you don't have to put on a Genji glove or waste the materia slot with dual wield. That's pretty good. Let's talk about what support abilities we have in 2B. The 2 passive abilities I can see you guys using on 2B are Avoid and Pod Charge, not only for their specific abilities that they do, but also because it unlocks stronger abilities in 2B Kit. That's how she works. She's a unit that you have to use 1 ability to make her stronger, and then her next hit hits even harder and things like that. So Avoid right here, what that's going to do is that's going to put a negate physical damage 2 times on us. So 2 times she takes physical damage, it's going to negate both of them. And then it also gives us a 20% chance to counter with Avoid. And the Avoid attack isn't that powerful, but it's a little neat thing you can do there. The other one is going to be called Pod Charge. What that does, we can look down here at Pod Charge. When we cast that on herself, we're going to have a 20% HP auto revive for 1 turn. Now, these support abilities aren't the greatest on their own, but what they allow us to do is unlock better abilities that we can use in the future. And the first one I want to point out here is this is this Charge Spear. And this is Charge Spear now because we just used Pod Charge. If we go over RO50 Spear, which is the ability that it is to begin with, it is normally just a single target 2.75 times physical damage multiplier that gives you 100% additional machine killer. So she can get up to 250% machine killer if she has the machine killer on her materia, her passive in her kit, 100% machine killer, and then if you use R050 Spear or Charge Spear, that's going to be another 100% machine killer on her, so that she's going to be great against the robot trial or anything that is a machine. She's going to decimate it. Now, you can see here that we also have this ability, Charge Spear. And what Charge Spear does is it's a 5.5 times physical damage multiplier with a 6 hits on it. So it's very, very powerful. It becomes better. It becomes much better after you use Pod Charge. But in all honesty, I don't see yourself actually using R050 Spear or the better Spear here at all. We're going to go ahead and use Pod Farm again so we can get it ready for the next one we can use it with. Because it essentially just isn't as good as the Avoid attack we'll learn about later. So you're essentially only using this ability, 1, to get better machine killer, or 2, to do the bug, which I know you guys are thinking about it and you guys want me to explain it. There's a bug going on right now with 2B where if you use Charge Spear or R050 Spear, it has the chance of just doing 1 billion damage to a robot, either the Aegeon trial or the raid going on right now. I have never been able to successfully replicate this bug. I think it is due to my iPad and then also my phone and my Nox being too far ahead. I think it only works on older devices. So guys, if you want to go ahead and try it, grab a 2B partner, go fight the Aegeon boss, click the body, make sure you know, it doesn't have any resist or whatever. You're not doing light or whatever the light, dark, etc., whatever the robot trial is resist to, and you smack that Charge Spear, or you smack that R050 Spear, and see if you do 1 billion damage and knock it out. I mean, I've seen it happen. It's definitely there. Don't know if it's fixed yet, but that is a bug going on. The next ability that it does make better is the A150 Volt, which is Charge Volt now because we did just use the Pod Charge. Charge Volt is an ability that does single target 5.5 times multiplier with a 65% imperil to lightning. So let's go ahead and see that bad boy go off. It also adds thunder to attacks if used after Pod Charge. So if you use it before Pod Charge, so we'll go look at it right now, it actually has the ability to only do 2 times physical damage multiplier with 50% imperil lightning, and it does not do the 65% imperil or add the lightning attacks to your attack. So it's very important, guys, that you know that you definitely want to be using A150 Volt after you use Pod Charge if you're ever going to use it at all. And this is a way that 2B can imperil and also add elements to her, you know, her weapon if need be. We can go down here and look and see that, like, the A150 Volt will not add the lightning to our attacks. We can click on our person and look, it's not there. There's no buff there, so that's kind of sucks. But that's how it works with that. So that is a way, you guys, your 2B users out there, if you don't have anybody else to imperil for you, you can do the lightning imperil and add the lightning to your attacks. It's a lot of setup, but hey, that's how it works. Another great ability that 2B has is her self-destruct, which I think is amazing. A lot of you guys will recognize this ability because in the game, people would blow her up, and then you can see her booty, and it's all just a thing that people do. The self-destruct is an AoE 9.99 times physical damage multiplier move that has a 99% HP sacrifice. We can see here she blows up, and a 9.99 times physical damage multiplier is extremely powerful. The problem with self-destruct is either it's made this way or it's bugged. Killers and elements are not attached to this hit move, so it isn't the best finishing move you can have. Now, that kind of sucks because she has all that machine killer, and that could stack up quite well against the robot trial, but we're not allowed to use it right now as it's either bugged or it is actually designed that way. She does have an ability called Speed, and we can see here we can use Speed. Boom, boom, boom. Go ahead and use Speed, and it is a great move. It does single target 4 times physical damage with 10 hits, so you saw it hit a lot. Or we have single target 6 times physical damage if used after Speed or Avoid attack. So we can go down here. We can find the ability Extra Speed. We can use it there. Bada bing, bada boom. We can use Extra Speed if we want to. It's just going to up that multiplier from 4 times to 6 times and hit 10 times. Okay? I know this is a lot. You might have to go back to the video. She's a very, very unique character. She's got a lot of stuff going for her. But finally, let's get to what I think her chaining move is, and we'll talk about how to chain with her and, you know, what I think you guys should be using. Alright guys, so here we are fighting the raid boss. I wanted to show you guys the go-to move you want to be using is Avoid Attack. Now this isn't the easiest thing to chain with, at least for me on my iPad. Perhaps easier when using a macro or with the Android devices, or maybe you have an easier time with it. But to unlock Avoid Attack, again, like we talked about, we have to cast Avoid, and that's what we want to be doing every other turn. That's one of the downsides a lot of people sees to 2B, as they have, you know, she has a combo unit. She has to use Avoid, then Avoid Attack, Avoid, then Avoid Attack. And if you want to use Speed, it's Speed, you know, Speed Extra, Speed Extra, etc., etc. Or Avoid Attack, whatever. You know how it goes. But it is a 9 times physical damage multiplier. So guys, if you guys want to remember about Orlando being one of the best chainers, his is only a 4 times physical damage multiplier that hits 7 times, and it does add the Light Imperil, but there are other options to do the Light Imperil on Agrius, 9S, you know, another Orlando. You have Ace also to do even a better Light Imperil. So there are options to help her, but what the problem with her is she does need somebody to do that Imperil for her. She doesn't bring it in her kit. So what you guys want to go ahead and do is pick up Avoid Attack on both units, and you want to go from top to bottom, but you want to be hitting them at almost the exact same time. And if you do that up there, you're going to be able to get up to in a massive chain, just like you did see. So that's the move you guys, like, that's the go-to move. If you could pull off the chaining, that's what you want to be doing. And now we're going to look at her speed chaining and see how that easy that is and how that looks. Back here again, and we're going to be using speed this time. To see how that changed. Now, speed, it shouldn't be that hard to chain with. We're going to hit it like this. The reason it's not as good as the other, the mentioned, you know, Avoid Attack is it is only a 4 times physical damage multiplier, or after we use speed, it goes up to a 6 times, excuse me, physical damage thing. So we're going to go ahead and try to use the extra speed here and see if we can chain that up pretty good. It's a 10-hit multiplier, so we should be able to get up there pretty good. Let's see. See, we're elemental chaining, boom, 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 and we do get all the way up to a 39 chain, which is extremely powerful. But again, guys, that's after using speed and then using the single target 6 times physical damage multiplier move as extra speed. So it's up to you guys which one you want to use, which one seems easier to you. I have found that speed does chain pretty good with Orlando or Dark Veritas, which I'm going to show you guys right here. Alright, so I know this may be kind of whaley looking, but I wanted to show you guys what you can do if you have a team comp like this. What you guys want to do is hit the double Orlando first and then hit the 2Bs, and it should be able to chain up really, really high. As you can see, it kind of works together, and we got all the way up to a 67 chain, and it can get even higher, and you can use A2 in this chain too, which we'll talk about later, but that's something you guys can look into using speed. Using your Orlando and Dark Veritas as your double Orlando, double Dark Veritas, elemental chain. You can see it gets extremely high. Add a finisher to that. It's extremely, it's a lot of damage. So we're going to move on and talk about what do I rank 2B and what do I feel about her overall. I'm going to give 2B a ranking of 9 out of 10. She's an extremely solid chainer, an extremely good, useful unit. The only negatives I see are that it's going to be hard to make sure that you have a 2B friend to chain with, because the only people she can really chain with are herself, Knight Delita, and a little bit of A2 if they end up fixing one of her abilities to be able to chain. Or as you can see, if you stack them up and use them with Orlando, it can get pretty high up there too. And I'm talking about perfect chain, guys, not in the end. And the JP version of her gave her a really high score too. Be really excited, but be wary, because 2B friends are going to be falling off the list, in my opinion, once Onion Knight and other strong, you know, more Final Fantasy Brave Exvius friends do arrive. Last but not least on this banner is a 2, I do believe to be the best unit on this banner. Physical damage dealer 5-star going up to 6-star, and you heard me right, 2 Booty fans. I like A2 better than 2 Booty. The Trust Mastery is Beast Lord. It is a, you know, great sword that gives us defense 20%, unlocks the ability Beast Roar, and also has attack 125, and it is non-elemental. So this right here is going to take the place of any build where you needed to have a non-elemental greatsword, such as on maybe someone like Tidus, anybody like that. This is a best-in-slot weapon right here. Pick it up with the TM Moogles you guys do get from the raid. Let's talk about Beast Roar real quick. Beast Roar is just an AoE 1.5 times physical damage ability you can use, so I guess it allows you to do a little bit of physical damage. It hits twice. It's, you know, not the most, but not the least. It just puts physical damage AoE there when you need it. The Limit Burst is Berserk, AoE 3.3 times physical damage, and also as the, with the added benefit of 200% attack buff for 4 turns, and you can see it's really, really cool. Berserk is one of the best TMs in the, not TMs, excuse me, one of the best limit bursts in the game right now. If you max it out, it is going to go to a 250% attack buff, and that is just insanity. I don't even know what to say other than you've got to understand how good that is. I do believe they did say that the limit burst Berserk was supposed to have her hurt herself every turn after she uses it, and it lasts for 4 turns. However, I haven't seen that when I'm using it in global. I don't know if it's bugged. I think there's a lot of bugs going on with A2, and there's going to be a lot of fixes coming to her, so we need to be careful when reviewing her and talking about her, because we're honestly unsure if and when, you know, the changes may be coming. So we're going to talk about what specific, you know, passives I think are very good on her. One not mentioned here, shown on the side, is her passive to be able to get her limit burst up faster. It's 150% limit burst fill rate increase, and that is extremely strong, as we really want to be casting Berserk to get that 250% attack buff, guys. So make sure you level up Berserk, by the way, if you didn't understand. Level up that limit burst, way worth it. She also gets retried just like, her 2B counterpart, 80% chance to avoid KO when HP is above 10%. Very, very good. She gets Attacker Type 2, which is essentially Code E from 2B. 100% Machine Killer. You want that Machine Killer passive. It's awesome. She also gets Dual Wield, but she, on the other hand, instead of just having high attack passives built into her kit, she does have some weapons you're going to need to use on her. She has Weapon Masteries. She has a Sword Mastery that gives her 30% attack, 20% defense. She has a Greatsword Mastery, which is 50% attack with a Greatsword. You want to put a Greatsword on her. And then she has a 30% attack and 20% spirit with a spear. But this is the other weapon I do believe you want to put on her, is the 30% attack and 30% HP with a fist. And the build we want to be using here, guys, in my opinion, is a Greatsword with the Aegeon Trial fist, along with, you know, the Yun TM if you have it, Champion belts, and Martial Art Mastery, Greatsword Mastery, etc., you know, Dark Veritas, or Earth Veritas TMs. You can get her attack extremely high. As you can see, mine's kind of low right here. I don't have her really equipped out very well. I don't have her attack put up, but guys, she can become a beast. So let's go ahead and look into what support abilities she has, because she has quite a couple, excuse me, that are pretty good. So A2 has two support abilities I think you guys are going to be using. One unlocks another part to it, just like these combo characters do, it does seem with the Nier Automata. The first one being Taunt, and what Taunt does is Taunt's going to allow you to do an 80% buff to yourself and an 80% buff to the enemy. And you could say that seems pretty bad, and yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, you don't really want to be buffing up the opponent by 80%. You can always dispel that, but A2 has the bigger buff with her limit burst, so honestly, I don't see you casting this. You can use the Zon, kind of, in my opinion. It's not cheese, but I'll just call it cheese because it's fun to call cheese, to go ahead and take that buff away and throw it all over your team, and that's 80% attack buff to everybody. And the problem I see with that is Zon's like a one-trick pony that's always really doing for you, and there are other units that can even buff that up and do a lot, buff that up to that amount, 80% attack, like Veritas of the Flame, and then Veritas of the Flame is a finisher for you, so I don't really see that being useful. A2 also has an ability called Inherit Will, and what this is going to do is it's going to instant KO a target like this poor Shadow, revive herself, her HP and MP by 100%, and then unlock the next ability we can use, which is called Inherited Memories. And what Inherited Memories does is it puts you up to a 50% defense buff for 5 turns. It fills up your limit burst all the way up. So if we can find Inherited Memories real quick, here it is, Inherited Memories, bada bing, bada boom, we can go ahead and use that. If our limit burst needed to be filled up, there we go, it's all the way up, and we have a 50%, you know, we have a 50% defense buff. So now if we use A2, this is another thing you guys can be doing, though. If you use Inherit Will on, let's say, 2B. 2B has the possibility of resisting death 80%. And look, 2B isn't dead. Let's say we're setting up with 2B. We're going to use a Void Attack. Now let's see if we can still use the Inherited Memories even though 2B resisted death. And we can, guys. You can see it right here. So that's something you guys want to be on the lookout for, because that is something you guys can be using on somebody maybe that has a re-raise unit, someone who can resist death like Fravia, Zargaboth, 2B, another A2, things like that. So that's pretty cool. Now we're going to talk about her physical damage dealing abilities, you know, her damage, her attacks, and what you guys really want to get into the meat of. A2 has 4 physical damage dealing abilities you guys are going to use. We have 2 that we don't need unlocked in Dash Attack and Offensive Heal Combo. We're going to talk about Offensive Heal Combo real quick. It is a single target 5 times physical damage, 7 hit. You know, physical damage hits. It does 7 times. Then it also has a single target, 0.1 physical, 100% HP drain for 7 hits. And this was her go-to move that we all thought we were going to be using the chain. It had a 9-hit combo, which is really cool. It does chain well with, you know, Knight Delita. It chains well with 2B's ability, you know, the Void Attack we were using before. But sadly, in this game right here, you can't chain it. And I don't know if it's intentional, if, you know, they don't want you to be chaining, or if it's a bug. No one knows yet. Most drain abilities are not chainable, from what people have been telling me. I tried to contact Gumi support. They've told us 2 different things. Again, this sounds just like the 10+1 or EX system to see if, you know, the Nier banner units are on there. I'm trying to get an answer for you guys, but we don't know. So that right there really hinders A2 in my opinion, because that was going to be your big move. But we do have a 7-hit, 4 times physical damage move in Dash Attack, and I think this is going to be the one you guys are going to chain with, and this is the one that unlocks the other 2 abilities for yourself that you can be using. So A2 can be a finisher and a chainer, just like 2B. She can do the finishing with the move Finisher. Finisher, that is a 6 times physical damage attack, and you have to use dash attack before using it. So here you guys go. Here's Finisher. It looks a lot like Luna's Cut Through, and it's one of the problems I do have with A2 is she is a global exclusive, and a lot of her abilities look the same as other units. I think that's something Gumi and Square Enix need to work a little better on, is making the units a little bit more diverse and not making them look like Lunith or making them look like Tidus, etc., etc. Because this move right here is Lunith's ability, I mean, Lunith's attack animation, in my opinion, except for it, you know, it looks a little different. It's barely. Like, you know, they can do more big changes, especially for these limited time units we're all paying heavy money for. And the next ability I didn't talk about before is Heavy Attack. It is an AoE 3.3 times physical 10 hit multiplier. Again, we have to use the dash attack to be able to unlock it. Now, this is a pretty low, you know, multiplier here. It does hit 10 times. However, I think you want to be using dash attack to chain with. I think that's going to be the move. So now we're going to move on to showing you how to chain with dash attack, and then showing you with other members how you chain with them. Here we are again, guys, fighting the raid boss, this time with A2. And A2 doesn't have that setup move that she has to do, actually. Dash attack is what we're using. We would be using the ability down here, offensive hill combo. But again, it's just not really chaining up like we wanted to. It doesn't chain at all. And we're hoping that that is a bug. If not, we're going to have to be using this dash attack here. Guys, again, it's just going to be an easy attack. You just chain it up like this. There will be a break in between, as you can see here. It goes to 13, and then you can see it really didn't do as much damage as 2B because we can't get the chain that high. Now, we also do not have our 250% limit burst filled there. So I just wanted to show you guys, I know I lost, I didn't kill the boss, but that's how it works there. It goes to 13. You can get a Lunith hit in there pretty easily if you use dual wielding Lunith to do the finishing, because it can finish there at the end of that 13 hit, 14, finish the end of there, 14. But you are going to get 2 13 hitters there. It makes it kind of easier to hit with a finisher there to cap that chain off, which is pretty cool. But overall, that's what she does there with her dash attack. Hopefully, we can get that other thing figured out, so maybe we can hit a little bit better there. But that's it. That's pretty much for A2 chaining with the dash attack. So here we go, guys. We're trying to do the whole weld out, you know, thing. So again, we have to use a void with both of our 2Bs here. And then we're just going to defend with everyone else. So and use the void. We'll wait this turn out. Energy bomb, you know, using that spirit bomb on us, that kind of sucks. But we're guarding, so it doesn't do that much damage. And here we go. We have, dude, we're proccing at 20% like bosses tonight. I'm telling you, man, I've had to record a little bit. It's been going really well, but we are going to use speed, do a little bit of speed, you know, because we're drug addicts. We're going to use dash attack, and then we're going to use these abilities over here. Guys, again, you want to use the Divine Runations of the World and the Dark Punishments first, and then you want to tap these, and we get in there. We can see we get up to a pretty high chain here. We got all the way up to 80 chain. Pretty strong. I don't even know if I did that completely correctly. I don't know if that's the highest chain you can get, but that's the highest I've been able to reproduce. So as you can see, pretty dang strong characters here. So at the end here, what do I give A2? I give A2 a 9.5. Connection error. Awesome, Gumi. Thanks for being that in my video. I guess you guys deal with that a lot. But I give her a 9.5. You guys may be asking why I just watched you use 2 A2s and didn't even kill the boss. 2 Bs finished it easily. Guys, that's without using her 250% attack buff. Guys, you like don't ever sleep on that. That is a shitload of attack. And if you got an attack pots up, her attack's gonna get extremely high up there. Do not sleep on that. That's where I'm putting her. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel about this banner. And I'm sorry it was so late, but I was trying to change it. I hope you guys like the new format, and subscribe for future content. We'll catch you guys in the next video.